Yep, you're back with F1 P1 Life. We just had the checkered flag at the Dutch Grand Prix, so our lights are on. Away we go. Yeah, I had to just jump right into it and talk about this Grand Prix because it was a great one. It really was. Despite the Red Bull, and specifically we'll say Max Verstappen's pace, it wasn't just clear cut, and I definitely can appreciate that. And it wasn't clear cut for a lot of people. We all know that top six, the Ferraris, the Mercedes, the Red Bulls, we're all going to kind of battle it out. But I think Ferrari had it a little bit wrong in yesterday's post-qualifying conference, press conference. They tried to just downplay it. Yeah, Mercedes, we're not concerned with them. Of course, Red Bull said no. Max Verstappen did. And I expect that from all three. You don't want to make your competition feel like, they have a chance if you don't need to. But the reality is the Mercedes definitely has a lot of great race pace. And for certain today in the Dutch Grand Prix, they definitely did. Now, that lap one, the first lap was great. I think definitely saw Alonso touching a little bit of grass and dirt there, getting a little squirrely and stuff. But was that with Norris? I'd have to go back and check. But yeah, it was a good fight there. I was a little surprised. It's funny. I think Hamilton was looking on the inside, so he took. It's funny because everyone takes the high bank. What is it? Turn 3. The big bank, the first one. But he took the inside line. But I get it. But yeah, it wasn't too crazy out there for the first lap. No major incidents, so that was great. But for sure, the Ferraris and Sainz was definitely struggling out there with pace, more so than Leclerc. But Ferrari just really couldn't bring it to Red Bull. That is for sure. They were trying to stick around. It was clear by lap 4, at least to me. And yes, I'm somewhat of a Mercedes fan for sure, and I'm definitely a Hamilton fan. But it was kind of clear that that Ferrari were going to be battling Mercedes for the podium. That at least to me. I mean, I didn't have all the stats and everything, but you get a feeling for that stuff, and that definitely looked true. Now there was quite more pit stops than expected. It was pretty interesting. Well, so I'll just say this: starting off, Ferrari definitely botched Sainz's pit stop to begin with. That 10-second delay wasn't helpful, and then followed by like another 4-second delay. It was just terrible. Ferrari just kind of all over the place, and I was really feeling bad for the drivers, honestly. I mean, they had a car with some pace, but just, not everything that they needed, but more so, you need a team behind you that, if that, like Mercedes, okay, the car is not there, but maximize. And yes, we will get to it in a moment, because we all know how it fared out, despite where Hamilton was and everything. Yes, in case you were wondering, it was Verstappen, Russell, and then Leclerc on the podium. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. But Ferrari just, plan A, plan C, can't make plan C work, da-da-da-da. They left the gun out. Perez ran over their their gun for the pit stops. I mean, it was messy. And then Sainz ended up getting a 5-second penalty for, an unsafe release into, no, sorry, he didn't. And I think that was kind of justified. It was nip and tuck, but he really did pull out, and then it was such a tight pit space that it ended up giving time for the Alpine to pull up. I think he said Renault, but yeah, you get it. But no, he ended up getting a 5-second penalty for overtaking Ocon right as the yellow flag came for, I want to say, what was it? Was it Guan Yu that went off? I think it was the Alfa Romeo at the end of the pit straight. So, that was unfortunate for him. And that I guess, is the driver error. So, that's his fault in that respect. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I haven't said that Leclerc's same thing. Like, I think Ferrari has botched the job on Leclerc a lot. But he has made a couple mistakes. And that's one from Sainz. But, they're few and far between. So, enough to rag on Ferrari, but that is what it is. Now, as far as Red Bull definitely used Perez as a guinea pig for those hard tires. But I get it. They had one in P1, And, Perez was kind of dangling around P5, P6, and who knows what was going on. So it was worth it. Helped out Max. And I would definitely say shout out to Perez, because he definitely tried his best to hold up Hamilton, but he raised his fare. There's no collisions. I mean, so the funny thing is, though, he will always squeeze to the maximum. Get it? And then as soon as he's battling, oh, he pushed me off. He pushed me off. But you got to play the team radio game, I guess. It's just funny. But anyway, now moving forward, because this is really what I want to get to, I think Hamilton definitely has a case for why he is mad at Mercedes' strategy today. Now, I did hear Jolyon Palmer at the end say, he kind of understands because, if they didn't pit Russell, then, both of them would have been falling back behind the order. And I didn't have all the data, and Julian, he does all the analytical and all that analysis, I should say. Anyway, so he probably has the data right there. So he probably has a pretty good idea, and I can agree with that. But at the same time, I feel like, Russell made the call, and I get it. That's the same kind of thing that Hamilton would have done when he came into his Formula One career, right? Especially against Alonso. You want to get the top, and I'm not faulting Russell. What I have to say is I'd probably fault Mercedes a little more, and I'm sure Mercedes is good at it, so I'm going to wait to see what they have to say on their, review. They're going to explain a lot of this, I'm sure they will, and there'll be some analysis from a lot of different pundits, commentary, and so forth, of course, from F1 and other resources, so I'm interested to see. But at least my feeling is that if it was going to happen, especially because everyone had to come down the pit straight, that perhaps you should have done it to Hamilton and pitted him, because you definitely undercutted Hamilton. But we'll see. Again, you got to look back at all those things. So I'm not sitting here mad as a Hamilton fan like, oh, rah, Mercedes is terrible, screw George Russell. No, I get it from Russell. I think Russell ran a great race, and so I'm not mad at him. And I kind of get it too. Like, Russell knows his thing. He tried it before. I think it was it Baku? I think he did. He tried to pit, and it didn't really work out. And I think that's where Hamilton ended up with one of his P2s as well. So, I kind of get there, they're trying to please their driver, and, a lot of things are going on. So, but at least my initial reaction is I kind of understand where Hamilton's coming from a little bit, especially because, they're looking for that win, and they've been battling for it, and they were in a position to really hold Verstappen back. But I mean, the Red Bull's pace was so clear, and then everyone else had softs. So that's why I kind of feel like, if anything, really, because Julian's probably right, they probably would have both tumbled. But it would have been good to see the person that was ahead the whole time, and, Verstappen pitted, so Hamilton probably could have done it right behind him at the same time, and then they both could have just, so I guess maybe he would have lost track position if they didn't try to. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to see it, but I get where Hamilton's frustration is, and it was still, that Russell had good comments. David Coulthard was trying to ask some questions about, the nip and tuck kind of thing as he was coming down the pit straight racing Hamilton, and it was close. When I watching it back in the cool down room, it was tight. I didn't even notice it was that second last break. It was pretty tight. But they didn't touch, and so then it's fine. But Russell was very measured in his response. Of course, he doesn't want to stir up things right after the race. Just wants to enjoy his podium and let the debriefs happen and all that. And then same thing with Hamilton. Toto, Bono came on. Apologized, said they'd do the review, of course. And Hamilton, gave a shout out to the mechanics. They did a great job for Mercedes, and that definitely made a difference. The pit stops are right there. That's what they needed. Ferrari botched it. That's definitely put them in a worse place. And, it's all these little things that help Mercedes bring a car that doesn't have that qualifying pace every weekend to at least have good race pace and then maximize on it. But to my point is both Russell and Hamilton's responses in those messages were kind of measured. Hamilton was like, great deal to the team, to the mechanics, and good for the team getting a lot of points and stuff. He was happy about it. So definitely respect to the Mercedes drivers for, even when things don't work out right, or whatever it is, keeping some kind of professionalism. And I get Hamilton's words were strong in the cockpit, but so weren't Alonso's last weekend. And look you saw Alonso, and I love that picture. Maybe I'll try to throw it up. It was Alonso and Hamilton was giving him a hat or something I think he signed. It was just, shake hands and just it's all water under the bridge. And so I think the same's kind of with Hamilton. I mean, you're in the moment, you're P1, P2 battling with Verstappen, you know, at his home race, looking for your first win of the season. You know, the adrenaline is up there. Come on. So I'm not gonna hold that against them. I had to talk about it. This race was definitely interesting. I'm probably gonna watch it back later because it was just it was a good watch for real. So I think, yeah, as far as the championship, you know, for those Charles Leclerc fanboys, from Matt from WTF1, I'm sorry. I'm sure you already know. I'm sure you're probably posting a video right now about how it's probably done. And it is. And I feel bad for Leclerc and, you know, but Ferrari, who knows? Maybe there's always next season. Hey, I'll keep my Ferrari umbrella here just in case it starts raining a little more for them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next weekend. Of course, we're in Italy next weekend for a Grand Prix. So, you know, hopefully there's a little bit of sway, maybe some Tifosi luck on their side. But I will say, Ferrari tends to not do too well at their home Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc, I mean, Monaco, his home Grand Prix are not. So I'm wishing, fingers crossed, that Ferrari can just come out and have a solid weekend. Two Ferraris on the podium at your home Grand Prix, clean pit stops, good radio talk, all that. You want it. I mean, I think like Jamie Chadwick said on what do you call it, like the weekend warm-up, or not warm-up, I think it was post-qualifying, she was on yesterday with like a few others. And I think she was basically saying, like, you know, it's not like everybody just wants to hate Ferrari. I think people like Ferrari, and they like definitely the drivers, and they just want to see that performance, that maximization. And so it's not me just trying to find a team to just talk ish about. You know what I mean? Like, I got a Ferrari umbrella for a reason. I mean, I think Enzo said it, you know, if you draw a race car, it's going to be red. And when it's red, you think Ferrari. So I think everybody really wants the best for them. And anybody out there that's really a Ferrari fan and you kind of feeling, you know, the heat, I'm sorry for it, but I'm probably mirroring some of your thoughts. So anyway, we'll see what next weekend brings. I'm not going to sit here and predict two Ferraris on the podium. We'll kind of see how FP1 and FP2 and stuff go. But, you know, fingers crossed for them. So that's it for now. I'm your host, Sean Kilburn. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick rundown after the Dutch Grand Prix. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also share this with all your friends and family as well. This is F1 P1 Life, and I'll see you next time.